Should have cleaned up a little bit.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. Today is May 3rd, 2017. It's a Wednesday, 4:30 in the afternoon. And before we begin our council meeting, I will ask those who are able to please stand and join in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And now we shall begin our council meeting. May I please have a roll call?
Pete Hamill, Randy Funker, Brad Hint.
Here.
Greg Gills.
Here.
Zach Sawyer.
Here.
Thank you. First on the agenda, public comments. Are there any public comments at this time? You may come up now, Brittany. Not that you need my permission. But
I am Brittany Berenson, and I am the new general manager for the Crossroads Pavilion. So getting all settled in, I started about a week ago. And so it's great to meet everyone, and I'm still getting used to names and faces. So it's great to be in Sheldon.
Wonderful. We're glad to have you. And thank you for
welcome.
coming up.
Thank you.
I wasn't sure who you have and have not met. So this is a little intimidating or informal, so we'll make sure we make it a little more friendly next time we see you. Then.
All right.
All right. Thanks,
Sounds
Brittany.
good.
Thanks.
And right now you're set up in the conference room, everyone. So if you want to pop in and share a word with her, you're welcome to. Yes? Okay, just making sure. Any other public comments? Just want to make sure before we move on. Okay. Number 2 on the...
Just to stop you a minute, is there an echo?
Yep. Thank you. Do you mind if we keep talking?
Go ahead.
Thank you. On our consent agenda, we will not be taking action on line C, the approval of a mayor's appointment. I have not been able to speak to this person and have confirmation myself, so we will not be taking action on that. Otherwise, the minutes, summary list of claims, and the consideration to approval for a burn request at 126 D Street will remain. Any questions?
Where is that D Street?
That's Galen Elgersma. It's over by the livestock and Bill's Electric, the sale barn.
He
Yep.
likes to do it every year.
Yep.
Okay.
And he contacts neighbors, fire department before he does the burn and make sure it's not on a windy day. And he's done it every year. Yep.
Make the motion to approve.
Support.
Thank you. May I have a roll call, please?
Hint.
Aye.
Sawyer.
Aye.
Gills.
Aye.
Okay, moving into new business, number 3, we're going to have a brief discussion regarding the legislative changes regarding fireworks within the city limits, and I assume that's why you're here. Hello, we would have, fixed our hair a little more. We have to relax, right? As some of you are aware, within the state, Sean, do you want to bring us up to date on what that new legislation is?
Okay.
So I don't
most recently,
misread
the
you.
state legislature has passed legislation. It is yet to be signed by the governor, with the allowing the use and sale of pyrotechnics or fireworks within the state of Iowa. The sale of fireworks is to be governed and licensed by the state fire marshal's office. So they're still developing the rules based on the most recent legislation. The change that we would see here in the city of Sheldon is if, in fact, the city council would modify the current ordinance, which now prohibits the use of fireworks. So that's really the discussion that this elected body will be looking at as once it is signed into law. The sale is allowed at the state level. So there's not much in the way that we can do to govern that other than following what the state fire marshal comes out with.
Sure. So, at the time, the sale of fireworks. Now, fireworks, we're talking pop bottle rockets.
Roman candles.
Thank you. I couldn't think of the other one. Roman candles, firecrackers. Okay, nothing huge like we set off at major event. And this is something, so the state is going to allow the sales within the state of Iowa. So we would need to amend our ordinance if that's what the council would want to do. But also, we have requests for people wanting to sell fireworks already. So that's something else we have to start to consider. Peddlers permits and whatnot. Jerry and Randy, on the fire department, would you like to share in any of this conversation any thoughts, concerns you may have regarding fireworks? Did you? I don't, but you go ahead, Jerry.
Well, Randy and I had talked about it, and I really haven't talked to any of the other members, but fireworks have been around a long time, and I've lived in this town for like 45 years. And whether they make it legal or not, I believe there's always been fireworks. And I guess it's our feelings that, as a department, whether they change the law or not, it doesn't really affect us. You
Okay.
know. I think, and Randy had said too, I think as far as fires go, I don't believe there's going to be any more fires. There may be, you can't tell. But we do think there may be more injuries, I guess. That would be
I think that's a given.
that would be out of our,
Sure.
realm. But as far as fire goes, we're not against having the city put in their amendment or whatever to
Okay.
allow fireworks in town. So,
Thank you.
And I know the Iowa Fire Association is kind of against it, but 45 years where I've been here, and there's always been fireworks.
Right, there's always fireworks,
everywhere.
whether they've been legal in town or not. I think most of us that live here know that they're going off. Something that we have talked about is the confusion it might cause. If it's legal to sell them in this state, and we have people selling them, how confusing would that be? Then you can't set them off in our town. So I think that's something that we, the council, need to decide if that's something we want to revise in our ordinance and have that process start. Council, if you want to share it. We're missing two today, so I thought we might keep this brief and light, but at least begin the process. So if you have, do you have comments you'd like to share?
I guess, living here, I'm guilty. I've shot them off before. You go to South Dakota, you buy them, you bring them back, you shoot them off with your family. People are going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
We're not enforcing the ordinance we got unless they go over repeat offenders. I'm sure then they're enforcing it.
Right.
But rule of thumb is they've kind of looked the other way. Let's look into allowing it because they're going to shoot them off anyway.
Mm-hmm. They do.
And if we set a time, if it's 11 o'clock is the deadline, or if it's midnight, then if they get complaints after that time, then write them a summons.
Okay.
That's the way I personally feel about it. You're not going to stop it, and how are you going to start enforcing it?
Right.
I agree with
Thank you, Brad.
Brad and with Chief. As long as I've been here, they've always been shot off. They've always been going off. Why would we permit it or not permit it now? It's going to happen anyway. If it's legal at the state level, why should we decide to go against that, basically?
Thank you. Greg?
I have mixed feelings. I've been going back and forth. Err on the side of caution. It's going to happen. I would like to know what the citizens of the community have to say about this.
Sure. And I think
So your input is welcome. I got one text today, and I just want to read what she had to say. I see that the city council is discussing fireworks today. I hope that if within the power of the city, usage is strictly limited in both permissible hours and scope, then it would be equally desirable for the city to enforce, all caps, whatever limits are placed, unlike the burning ordinance, which is blatantly ignored in our neighborhood. One woman's opinion.
See, and I go back to that too. You can't control the human element in it. You have bicycles riding up and down the street. They get injured.
Right.
It's accidents. Accidents happen
They
no
will.
matter what
Mhm.
we
It's a
do.
part of human nature. They're
And
always going to be
We're
there.
going to have accidents.
will they rise? Sure.
Yeah.
That it's given. But
The
Mike,
question is, would you limit those injuries if you don't allow the use? That's the question I have not answered in my mind yet.
right. Let's one moment. Do you have that ordinance pulled up right there, Micah, to where I could read
current
that, or
ordinance
if you would share with us?
is City Code 41.11, which basically requires a permit from the city before fireworks can be utilized, and there's some insurance requirements that go with this permitting process.
Oh, that's
So that's
interesting.
the starting point and what potentially would have to be reaffirmed or amended or potentially rescinded depending on the council's wishes.
Thank you, Micah. And
We've
then, go ahead, Greg.
We've added stop signs and crosswalks where injury is a possibility for children crossing the road. How does this vary much from that?
I see it, and I understand that you're personally weighing on what's going to be right and wrong and how can we stop people from getting hurt, but at the same time, I can't help it. But wonder, and I said this in the beginning, is the confusion. If the state is going to allow the sale, and we can do this within our state, but you can't do it in Sheldon, they're going to do it. They're going to be able to buy them, if not right here. They're going to go to Boyden or Sibley or Spencer. There's going to be that confusion element. Will injuries go up? It's very possible. But I look at it this way. If the state's going to allow it, and we're doing it anyway, you know, people are shooting them off. We kind of turn so that people can celebrate the 4th of July celebrations. While I don't want to see injuries, I also think that it'll be okay to follow suit and allow the fireworks to
thing
go
we
off
can-
within a time frame, and then make sure that we stick to that ordinance of whatever we decide it to be.
And I think once it's enforced, if it's 11 or midnight, I
Yes,
think the first time they issue someone's a ticket,
right.
that word's going to spread, and people are going to know when the time limit's off.
I agree.
Another thing to consider is along the lines of economic growth. I mean, by permitting the sale of fireworks in our town, it could easily generate a new business or two or three. It's hard to know.
Yeah. Yes. Okay.
Well, keep in mind that the legislation hasn't been signed by the governor yet.
Right.
The legislation focuses primarily on the sales of fireworks, which there's a very lengthy definition that comes with it. But just as the state is anticipating to regulate the sale, if you would authorize use, it would come with certain regulations. So I think in some ways you're talking about the same thing. It's just a question of if and which regulations might apply, if allowed at all.
Isn't it now? There's a certain time period they're allowed to sell the fireworks. Correct?
Under the proposed legislation, there is a limited window.
Limited window.
Yeah, around the 4th of July
And
time
the New
frame, and
Year's.
then New Year's. It's a very small window.
So that would mirror probably our window of if we do something.
Right. So for the time being, I think we wait for all of that to finish its due process in the state before we can move further, but also have our other two councilmen back so that we can decide where we want to go or how we want to proceed.
And the voice you're not hearing today is law enforcement, which you would be asking potentially to enforce this.
Right, and I do have an email from Lyle. Lyle is on vacation, Chief Bulkema. But I prefer if he were here to share with us then too. They have received calls over that time period, over the July 4th evening, and he did say that they do turn a blind eye for a certain window of time, but if they do get calls, then they do go out and check on, you know, some of those repeated calls, or if it's later than the time frame that they list. And I want to say it's around 11, but I would prefer Chief Bulkema to be here too when we have those discussions. So I guess we can wait and see what the state's going to do
Is there any timeline on that? Any indication?
with the governor.
He's a little preoccupied right now.
It's a little busy. Who knows? But in the meantime, those who are interested in peddler's permits, they can still begin that process, right? Because they really can have a peddler's permit, but they can't sell anything unless they have they cannot sell fireworks unless they have the completed form from the state marshal, which that isn't even.
Well, and one of the
Finalized.
questions with the internal peddler's permit, do we want to change the insurance requirements? It's one thing to sell ice cream. It's
Oh, yeah, that's something-
something completely different with fireworks. So, do we want to increase that? Now, there are going to be thresholds established by the state fire marshal. So, they're essentially able to show that they have that insurance bond or surety bond, and they can share that with a copy with the city. So it's meeting that requirement.
They would have that with the fire marshal? Would that be part of that application?
It might very well. We have to wait to find out.
Yeah, so we'll wait to see what that is too then, right? All right.
So in other words, we gotta wait for your
In
fire
other
marshal
words,
before we come
brief
allow people to sell
conversation
it.
of when it comes back. I think, Greg, that'll give you a little more time to think about stuff too. Maybe get feedback from
You're welcome.
from our public too. Let us know
Community's input.
what you think. Absolutely. All right. So since we're down 2 council and 1 chief of police, and we don't have certain things from the state, let's move on. Just to make sure there's no other comments. Nope. Thank you, Chief Meyer. Thank you, Randy. Thank you, Mr. Van Matron and Brittany. Okay. Number 4, new business. There are 3 action items underneath the not to exceed 600,000 general obligation capital loan notes. The first is a resolution ratifying, confirming, and approving publication of notice of public hearing. Again, this is just the process of the paperwork we have to follow regarding these loan notes. Excuse me?
Bonding.
Yeah, thank you. So the first one is a resolution, and if you'd like, I can read that for you. A resolution ratifying, confirming, and approving publication of notice of public hearing for the issuance of not to exceed $600,000 general obligation capital loan notes. That's about it. I could read all the whereases, but I hope you did that.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Thank you.
Support.
Thank you. The next part is we will now open the public hearing on the, oh, sorry, roll call. See, I'm getting ahead of myself.
All right. Gills?
Aye.
Sawyer?
Aye.
Hint?
Aye.
See, we're quick. Now we will open the public hearing on the authorization of a loan agreement and the issuance of notes to evidence the obligation of the city thereunder. So that public hearing is now open. Are there any comments? There are none. So then do we have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Support.
Thank you. Roll call. Thanks.
Hint?
Aye.
Gills?
Aye.
Sawyer?
Aye.
And then last is a resolution instituting proceedings to take additional action. Do you have any questions regarding what that means?
Make the motion to approve.
Thank you.
Support.
Thank you. Questions? Comments? A roll call, please.
Sawyer?
Aye.
Hint?
Aye.
Gills?
Aye.
Poor tree. There we go. All right. Number 5 on our agenda is considering the master agreement for engineering on the Crossroads Industrial Park infrastructure. Now, there's 2 parts to this. There's also, number 6 is an amendment to that master agreement for engineering. And Todd, would you like to share with us, please?
Sure.
Thanks.
The first part is just something that Slowfield Engineering suggested. They've done this with a couple other cities. It's just general information that's in every engineering agreement that we get. So then they would, if you approve that one, then that would stay on file. And then every project we did with them going forward would just be an amendment to that agreement, project specific with the fees associated with that agreement. So the first one is just your general language that would just stay on file. It's something you've approved
Yes.
every time you approve an engineering agreement.
And would you mind explaining the amendment so that?
The amendment is
Take
just the
action on
project
both later.
specific for the Crossroads Industrial Park.
Perfect.
Which includes the fee, which is $43,000, and that gets us from design all the way through project completion. It's all included in the agreement.
Okay. Any questions regarding the agreement with Schofield Engineering?
I know we've had a long-standing agreement with them, and they've done all the work for the city. Thinking of it in terms of bidding and whatnot, is there any advantage to putting this, to competition for this kind of work?
It doesn't tie us to them. It just, any project we do with them, the master agreement's on file. If we decide we don't like the master agreement, we can, well, I don't know how we go about that, but I'm assuming there'd be a way to get rid of it, I guess.
Yep.
Okay.
Is DGR doing 16th Street?
Correct. This is Crossroads
Yeah,
Industrial
but
Park.
I mean, we use other firms
We do.
Not strictly,
Right.
No.
McClure, DGR.
Yeah.
We're currently using RDG, DGR, Slofelt, and McClure on different projects within the community.
I just
As well as
refer,
Beck
they don't,
Engineering.
And Beck, correct.
yeah, they don't get all the jobs.
No, they do not.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? Then do we have a motion to consider the master agreement for engineering on the Crossroads Industrial Park infrastructure?
So moved.
Support.
Thank you. If there's no comments, a roll call, please.
Gales.
Aye.
Hint.
Aye.
Sawyer.
Aye.
And then considering the amendment to master agreement for engineering, do we have a motion to approve that?
Make the motion to approve.
Support.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Sawyer.
Aye.
Gales.
Aye.
Hint.
Aye.
Thanks. Thank you, Todd. Number 7 on the agenda is setting a date and time for a public hearing on the preliminary and final plat of Prairie Trail Edition and vacation of utility easement. Prairie Trail Edition is out in the Crossroads area, just south of Taco John's, where 34th Avenue leads to the south just before the turnabout. The public hearing date would be our next council meeting, Wednesday, May 17, 2017 at 4:30 p.m. Do we have a motion to set this public hearing date and time?
So moved.
Support.
Thank you, gentlemen. A roll call, please.
Hint.
Aye.
Gales.
Aye.
Sawyer.
Aye.
Thank you. Number 8 on the agenda is considering authorization of preliminary financial statement distribution. Tom Lawrence, I saw something in the paper where you explained that for us. Thank you very much. Yep. Yep. And Sean, would you care to just share with us exactly what that means in layman terms?
Sure. As we are going out, getting ready to sell bonds for the engineering work for the wastewater treatment plant, the 16th Street reconstruction project, as well as the Crossroads Industrial Park extension, people that are looking at buying our bonds are entitled to transparency and a review of all city financial documents and so forth. So they're adequately prepared in bidding on our bonds. So.
Okay. Thank you. Do we have a motion to consider this authorization of preliminary official statement distribution?
So moved.
Support.
Thank you, gentlemen. May I have a roll call, please?
Gales.
Aye.
Sawyer.
Aye.
Hint.
Aye.
And last is comments. Anything, Todd? No? Brad? Any
Nothing?
comments, council?
Yes, a couple. First one, I wanted to just thank the community for their efforts in cleaning up the community. We had a SCDC meeting yesterday. Chanel mentioned that the response for the community cleanup, the volunteerism, has been terrific. Thank you, public, for being involved in that, for taking pride in your community and getting involved in community, showing your community spirit. Secondly, it was in the paper today. I just want to get another plug in for the villages Run, Walk, and Roll. I think it's the first Saturday in June. June 5 is the date I have in my head.
June 3rd.
June 3rd.
It'd be June 3.
But anyway, there's something for everybody there. We applied a few years ago for the state fitness program. We didn't get that grant at that time, but yet we still want to be a fit community. This is a good way to get a little exercise, show your support for the village, and have a good time all at the same time. So.
Thank you. Zach, did you have anything? Okay. Sean?
No, ma'am.
Okay. I have 2. The community cleanup is May 5 for all the volunteers. That's this Friday, but I'm sure the SCDC, if there's more people, they'll take them. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. And I do thank them as well. It's wonderful to see participation and people coming together to clean up, and all those who have taken advantage of the flags for the west side. Reminder that the east side of Washington, to purchase your flag for $15, you need to buy that by Friday before 3 p.m., correct?
Yes.
And last, tomorrow is the National Day of Prayer, and we here in Sheldon observe that. It begins at 6:30 at the Living Water Church, with the prayer service to begin at 7 p.m., and everyone is welcome. I invite you to join if you are able. And
I about forgot, Mayor. Isn't tomorrow the trail cleanup as well?
Yes.
I believe so.
Yes, yes.
Just,
Everybody, we're just cleaning up.
Clean up the town.
Yep, get ready, because here we come. All right, thank you, Zach. With that said, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Support.
Thank you, roll call, please.
Hint.
Aye.
Gills.
Aye.
Sawyer.
Aye.
Thank you, we're adjourned.